So question 12 says the chairperson should not have released the election commission's report to the public. Pretty straightforward. You shouldn't have released the report. And the reason given was the chairperson did not consult any other members of the commission about releasing the report before having it released. So two very straightforward ideas, right, Ashley? The chairperson didn't consult anyone, therefore the chairperson should not have released it, right? The problem, okay, so we're trying to make it, this is a sufficient assumption question, right? So we're trying to make that conclusion proven. And you were debating which two? A and D. Okay, so A, it would have been permissible to release the report only if most other members of the commission had first given their consent. So this is actually an if-then statement. Do you know what the if-then translation of A is?
If the chairperson will wait. Only if means then, right?
That's exactly right. So if only if means then this means, in short, if what, then what? If
the chairperson permissively released the commission's report to the public,
then
most other members of the commission had first given their consent.
Yeah, if it had been permissible, then most would have given their consent, right? What's the contrapositive?
Not most.
Yeah, if most had not given their consent,
Then it would not have been permissible.
then it would not have been permissible, which would justify the conclusion, right? Now, did most give their consent?
No.
No, most did not give their consent. In fact, they were not even consulted, right? So since most did not give their consent, then according to answer choice A, it would not be permissible, which would justify the conclusion. Now,
Okay.
let's take a look at D. The chairperson would have been justified in releasing the report only if, so again, only if means then. So this becomes if justified, then what?
Then all would have agreed.
All would have agreed to its being released had they been consulted. So the had in there means if. So what this is really saying is if you were consulted, then you would have agreed. And so this says if justified, if you were justified, then if you had been consulted, then you would have agreed. And we're saying, well, they weren't consulted. So this condition right here has this like if-then statement hasn't even been like discussed. It's a really weird technicality, but basically this then clause we can't say has not necessarily not happened.
Right.
Because it's saying if they had been consulted, then they would have had to agree. But we're saying we don't.
It like adds another element.
It adds another condition, and we know they haven't been consulted yet. So then we're saying, well, what happens when they haven't been consulted? Do they have to agree then? No, we don't. So D is wrong.
Would you have written this out?
No, I would not have written this out. I was just writing it out now to make it clear, but this is a classic, correct answer. They do the contrapositive, so they try to hide it. But if permissible, then most would have, whatever they said, consented.
What question was this? Because I remember flagging
Question
this,
12.
and I was between A and one of the ones that said unless. I
Unless.
don't know. Maybe I made this up. I think I might have made it up. There was another one where the answer choice had the word unless, and I was trying to like make it.
An if-then statement? Yeah.
But I didn't know like what to do after I turned the answer choice into an if-then statement, because I was like, well, okay, now I have it in an if-then statement. Like, what do I do? How
What
do
do
I know
you
if
do?
it's right?
It depends on the question type. Because this is a sufficient assumption,
Yeah.
if the if-then statement, if we take this and add it to the premises, and that with the premises proves the conclusion, then it's correct.
Okay.
And so the premise was that the chairperson did not consult, right? This is actually did not give their consent.
Right.
But if the chairperson did not consult any of them, then we know most of them did not give their consent because they didn't even talk about it. Therefore, according to this, it would not be permissible, and that justifies the conclusion that the chairperson should not have released it.
So yeah, I think for me it was like, okay, I turned it into an if-then statement, and I was debating between writing it out and
Yeah.
like somehow figuring it out in my head.
Mhm.
So in your head, you're just supposed to like plug it back into the actual premises and be like, does this make sense?
Yes, yeah. Does the answer choice, which is now another premise,
Uh-huh.
plus the original premises, prove the conclusion? If it does,
Right.
then that's correct.
And that's a problem question because it's bottom up.
Yes, that's exactly right. We're assuming that the answer choices are true.
Okay.
This one is just really because of this conditional. Yeah.
Can I ask you a quick question
Yeah.
about